Greetings, my fellow mercenaries. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Battle Brothers, Episode 5, Grim Business. With the brigands dispatched, we head back to Donner's Wold, knowing that there is more equipment, tools, and supplies to be procured to maintain our spoils. Tools and supplies found at cheap cost purchased, and spare bags of grain and berries sold before they spoil. Back into the deep forest we go, looking for a ruin or hostile camp to destroy. There was that southern band of bandits maybe we can chase. While on the path, you come to a man being dangled upside down from a tree branch. A bunch of men are sitting around him, sharing a goatskin flask, looking like they're at the end of a day's hard work. When you ask what's going on, one of them looks up and smiles, whipping this fella till he's raw. You ask what for? Another man answers, fornicating with this fella's wife. A man drinking spurts and chokes on his drink and wipes his mouth. Hardy har, very funny. No, this scumbag was caught with my dead horse. Let's talk to the dangling man, the group agrees. You walk over to the dangling man. There's blood running down his back, streaking from a dozen slashes. He's got a cloth covering his eyes, which you pull down. Blinking, he asks you if it is what you want, as though you're interrupting his own hiding. You ask him if what they say is true. He spits and clears his throat. I mean, yeah, but the horse was dead. So, of what matter was it? Can't a man have his fun? The horse owner gets up, brandishing a dripping whip. You want us to go back at it? We got all day. Sighing, the dangling man asks you a question. You're a sellsword, right? Why don't I come and fight for you? I'm strong, an able-bodied man. A little horse, worse for the wear. But aside, and the dead animal thing, I'm a man of upstanding and moral sensibilities. We'll cut you down. You take out your blade and cut the man down. He crumbles onto his shoulders and splays out, his lashings back into the dirt. The soil may have well been salt, judging by his wailing. One of the whippers stands up. Hey, just what do you think you're doing? We ain't finished here. Robert the turtle draws his weapon, and the man backs off. The horse owner spits and shakes his head. Are you really going to defend this piece of work? Ain't that some horse poo? I guess now I can say I've seen it all, which is exactly what I said when I caught this bastard. The man catches his breath and then points at the recently rescued. I hope you die your first day, you bastard. Welcome aboard. Gunnar, the filly fiddler, is our midst. He's fragile, a vagabond, but in good spirits. Given his wounds, he'll be put into the reserve. He will be offered a padded short coat instead of his whipped and destroyed tattered sackcloth. Maybe he can redeem himself, the men think. A group of undead spotted lurking in the southeast forest. The men, knowing that the undead are difficult to kill with their given weapons, venture westward. The southern reaches that crest the forests and mountains have yet been explored by our crew. Food is running low, and we're going to have to seek refuge somewhere soon. Essentorn, to the west, a city we've never been, will be our target. There are brigand thugs on the road, a good opportunity for the newbie to prove himself. A spare flail is offered to him from the men. And then the Flash remembers he's got a pike in reserve. Maybe that is a better weapon. The brigands have a few wooden axes, which may be dangerous, but most of their weapons seem simple and crude. They race forward as if they're eager to meet the afterlife. And surely our band of brothers are ready to help them greet it. Crimson unleashes a bolt on a group of 5, and somehow all 5 dodge it. Miraculous, he thinks. Alfred wants to do the same. But unlike Crimson, his shot connects. JT, ready to spill some blood, steps up to the group and slashes the worst armed thug. Droiden, seeing an unprotected thug, slashes at his head, but it does not connect. He misses. Robert clubs yet another one of the brigands, and Mr. Mojo closes in on the wounded one. And Otto slashes the brigand thug. He adeptly dodges. Lucky him. First blood has not yet been spilled. Papa G, with his flail, surrounds the unprotected thug in the north, and he is felled easily. Tankwith knocks back an arrow and lets loose wildly, going awry. The Flash assesses the battlefield, knowing that he has exposed ribs and is hurt. He carefully assesses that he is best used in the south. Alfred looses 2 arrows at the thug, both miss, and Mr. Mojo is deeply cut by the wooden axe. He'll need help in the south. He's floundering. As is Papa G in the north. That last hit, devastating. The Flash cuts down one of the brigands, opening up opportunity to soften the group. Another one down, Gunnar says. Maybe worse for wear, but still able. Papa G knocks back the Axeman at his feet so he can flee to cover and safety, still bleeding from the wound. JT sees opportunity. The last thug in front of him, wounded, broken, ready to die. Droiden takes a step up, but is unable to dispatch the wounded man. And Crimson, Flash, JT, and Droiden are ready for some more fighting. Tankwith sees that Mr. Mojo is in trouble and tries to go to his aid, but forgets that he is surrounded by yet another Axeman, foolish and foolhardy. The axemen that are left are flailing wildly, not able to connect with their shots. Mr. Mojo, on the other hand, can, and decapitates the man that wounded him. Crimson brings one of the last thugs to the brink of death, and Otto dispatches the one in the north. The Flash, even at point-blank range, kills the Axeman that had recently hurt Tinkwith, and Papa G is happy to hang back with shield at the ready. JT, being unharmed and unscathed, pursues the last that is fleeing. Will he get away, they think? Do not know. The enemy is retreating. It's over. Another battle succeeded. Unfortunately, this one did not yield a whole lot of arms and armor, but some crowns for their cause. To Azentorn, they say, we need more food. Azentorn is a wooden motte towering above the tundra, with dog kennels and a market that they'll hit up in the morning. It is dawn, and the local nobility doesn't see fit to offer contract to these mercenaries. So instead, the mercenaries will trade and buy what they need and move on. The woodcutter's axes will be repaired. They're going to be worth more to the crew fixed up and sold rather than for pennies that they're worth now. The group buys some additional mushrooms and berries, as well as ground grains, and sets off to the west, to the unknown, hoping to find a lair or hostile camp. This unmapped territory is unknown. Maybe it's fruitful. Maybe it's full of spoils. Or horrors. The men soon will find out. The gloomy hills gives way to a snowy tundra and an uncharted northwest coast. 5 days of food and 4 of provisions will help steel the men for their travels. The deeper we go into the unventured territory, Robert says, the more dangerous it will become. We might want to find ruin or hostile camp, but risking life and limb seems wrong. Heading back towards Angbred, the crew will scour the eastern mountain range and hopefully find an ancient outlook in the tundra. Knowing that the last few engagements of these have been fortified camps of zombies, the same conclusion. No, this time it's brigands. It's lightly armored brigands. We're ready. We're good to go, they think. Finally, our renown shall be known. Quickly assessing the situation, it looks like there might be 2, maybe 3 organized and well-armed raiders, but most of them are just simple thugs, easy to dispatch. The first arrow rings out, bringing the brigand thug near death, wavering with crushed windpipe. The Flash gets in position despite his cut leg muscles for his next attack. Otto, knowing what he needs to do, shores up the northern flank, drawing spear and preventing anyone from ingressing. Crimson knocks back a bolt, looks in the horizon, and sees that the brigand thug just in front of him might have a shield, but should be easy to hit. And his chest is pierced. He's floundering. Alfred knocks back an arrow and lets loose wildly, without much target in mind, as Gunnar positions himself for a next combatant fight. The men are ready. They're willing. They're waiting. Gunnar, unfortunately, without helmet, had his head bludgeoned fully. Crimson, ready to return the favor, shoots the brigand raider in the chest. Thrown javelins easily deflected by JT's large kite shield. But crossbow seeks Flash, hits him deep into the pierced lungs. Papa G should easily be able to dispatch the brigand thug, but unfortunately his armor, despite its damage, does deflect. Jordan pushes forward, knowing that it will open up yet another flank. More brigands down. Otto is ready to pursue, to stop their crossbowmen from being able to let loose bolts. The Flash backs off, knowing that he's going to be the target of the bolts. He's wounded, and he needs to recover. Alfred knocks back an arrow and lets loose on the brigand raider in front of him, both missing. The brigand raider also misses, does not manage to hit Mr. Mojo. JT's shield holds up, and the crossbowman lets loose a bolt on Droiden, but it misses its target. Crimson, taking careful aim, shoots at the brigand raider and yet misses too. The raider with the large blade swings wildly and misses all targets. A flank maneuver from Papa G will be employed. JT's shield holds up yet again against the bolts. There is a crossbowman isolating himself to the south. Droiden's armor gives way. He's wounded and needs help. Help is coming, though. Papa G gets behind their line and slices with his flail the skull of the brigand raider in the north. Unfortunately, Droiden's shield could not hold up. The brigand raider's large blade slices through him. Mr. Mojo, angered, rushes towards the aid, but he's too late. The damage has already been done. The men, angered by the deaths of their compatriots, quickly rally and dispatch the remaining combatants. Not very many now, not very long to go. A very high price indeed to pay for the renown, but hard-earned and hard-won. Closing in on the remaining crossbowmen will stop them from subsequent attacks. They might still have one bolt left to loose, but that is it, and they'll be done. It is time for revenge, Mr. Mojo says, and his booming voice forces the crossbowmen next to him to flee. The Flash comes back to the fight, knowing that he's relatively safe, given that the remaining enemies are getting surrounded so rapidly. One more to go. Tankwith takes careful aim and unfortunately hits his fellow spearman. Crimson says it's over, takes careful aim and punctures the lung of the remaining bandit. Tankwith again fires wildly and hits JT. JT says, "Cut it out," and cuts the last bandit down. Gunnar and Droiden both fallen in the fight. Despite the wealth of gear obtained, the cost was too high. We're going to head back to Cobmenhaven, far to the southeast, avoiding as much combat as possible. Assessing the loot, the men realize that there's equipment to dole up. Papa G gets the worn mail shirt, keep him protected from future attacks. The crossbows will be set to be repaired. The dented nasal helmet doled out to Robert the Turtle. The kite shield also given to Robert the Turtle, as well as the superior flail. The daggers given to each of the frontliners, so that in the case of an opportunity, they are well equipped. The full caps given to the archers. They don't block vision, but they will protect the head far better. And a boar spear offered to JT the spearman. Better than his militia spear. Into the 23rd night, the men having to bury more today than any day previous except for day one. A solemn day. Perhaps drinks are due in Cobmenhaven, and easier contracts and new recruits. The gear has been maintained, and this should fetch a fine price on open market. The tools and supplies, as well as ammunition, are greatly overpriced. Medical supplies we have in short supply will be purchased despite the markup. Some of the men are ready to put their experience to work. And Otto, looking eager, dons the title Ducky. Papa G, wanting to focus on slaughter and tanking, sees fit to learn the ways of crippling strikes. Among the men in town, one shows particular promise. Hartbert, a brawler. He's hired, and soon to be equipped with proper weapons and armor. He'll have to prove himself, though, first. Basic items are procured to prevent his immediate demise. As promised, a round for the men. Bring them in better spirits. My cousin Bertwin left town with a mercenary company like yours, Falkenberg's Legion or something like that. Haven't heard from him since, the rumors say. Taking a look at the available contracts, Roger the merchant, a man we're familiar with, crosses his arms and purses his lips. He wants us to guard a caravan to Katzenberg, 2 days to the east. What does it pay? $450 when the job is done, and more with heads. Forget it. It isn't worth it. The other contract being offered is by Volker, the treasurer. He waves us in. Very well. Now that you're here, would you please shut the door behind you? One of the men's guards pokes his head around the corner. You smile as you slowly shut him out. Turning around, you find Volker, the treasurer, walking towards a window. He stares out as he talks. I need something. It's... well, you don't need to know what it is. I need this something delivered to a fellow named Erlin the Wise. He's waiting for it in Hammerstead. It's important that it actually gets there. Important enough for an armed escort for 2 days' travel. Which I'm turning to you and your company. What say you, mercenary? This task, he says, is worth 800 crowns. We accept your offer. Hammerstead is about 2 days north on the road. So 2 days of provisions will need to be obtained. A little bit more grain purchased for the road. Hammerstead is near Wolfhaden, where we solve the locals' issues. We're going to cut through the Black Forest, and our ambition is fulfilled. It sounded like a good idea, but trampling around the wilderness without a map or any destination in mind turned out to be quite strenuous. A strenuous way to find riches or even battle. A footsore band did eventually come upon a worthy target, though, and everyone had to agree to venture was worthwhile after all. Tinkwith is almost glowing with satisfaction as he surveys the few remaining embers of the ancient outlook. They hadn't the merest clue we were coming, like wheat before our scythes, brother. Mr. Mojo raises an eyebrow. Speak for yourself, I'm no farmer. While walking the streets of Cobmenhaven, you come upon a crowd standing over a hanged man. He must have been some notoriety. The folks are muscling one another to try to get a turn to cut a toe or finger off as a sort of hanged heirloom. An old man is quickly elbowed out of the mob. He turns to you, voice raspy, his bony fingers tented like sickly ribs. "Ah, sellsword, are ye? Of course, I can smell your business. The purchases ye have made. Say, would you do a bit of work for me? I need a number of that dead man's fingers and toes. It's for my work, ye shall see. I'll give you 500 crowns in return for it." You ask why he needs the particular man's appendages. The crooning, shoulder-cowed man laughs. A hackle, if there was ever one. Aye, good question. The man earned his walk to the hangman's noose with a penchant for violence, and unerring strength to see his desires through. His toes and fingers of a simpleton won't do. I need a man of uncinched cruelty, and the only one I see right now is swinging by that rope there. So, what say you? 500 crowns, remember? Alright, I'll go get them. You muscle your way into the crowd, looking for fingers and toes, or bloodied pockets. One man's got a good lumpy sack in his pocket. You drive him into a corner and shake him down with a dagger to his throat. After him, you see a woman with sickly grin on her face prancing along the cobbled stones. That's a scornful wench, if you've ever seen one. Pulling her aside, you quickly find a finger and a toe in the linen of her frock. She lies and says that they're just cooking ingredients. You tell her if that's the case, then you report her to the guards for cannibalism. She gives them up. Returning the grossly extremities to the old man, you are promptly paid the 500 crowns. He hardly even thanks you for your work before rushing away. He never did explain what exactly such things were for. You don't care. 500 crowns is 500 crowns. Taking the unbeaten path through the swamps, the Battle Brothers hope to make short work of this next cargo task. If there was bandits on the road waiting for said cargo, we surely will have lost them through the Black Forest. A brittle hovel with a few armored zombies is spotted in the forest. We'll note this for later. Potentially an easy target, given the right equipment, gear, and preparation. Into the northern reaches, Hammerstead on the Chillwind Flatlands, hopefully willing to trade. Falkenberg's Legion finally spotted. The rumors were untrue. They have survived. Finally, you've made it. Erlin the Wise is standing there in the middle of the road, his hands clasped over his stomach, a slick grin on his cheeky face. Sellsword, I was not sure you'd make it. You lug the cargo up and hand it over. Oh yeah? Why's that, you say? The man takes the box and hands it off to a robed man who quickly hurries away with it tucked under his arm. Erlin the Wise laughs as he hands you a satchel of crowns. Roads are rough these days, are they not? You understand he's making small talk, anything to get your attention off the cargo you just handed over. Whatever, you got your pay. That's good enough for you. Tools and supplies are at reasonable cost, and the men purchase what they need. Flash is still suffering from a punctured lung, and they contemplate going to the temple for a cure. We finally have an excess of money, perhaps a round in the tavern to raise spirits. And rumor has it that the councilman of Wolfhaven is once again looking to hire mercenaries. But first, we ask around the local establishment. Erlen the Wise once again comes up to us, studying a few maps on his desk. He trails a finger off to the edge of one side and continues on to another. I need an escort, and we know that that is not the type of work we're looking for. So we pass this opportunity. Erlen the Wise is closing a box up. He quickly glances up as though he's been caught with his pants down. Sellsword, thank you for coming. He locks the latches, and with a few quick snaps, then he pats the crate a few times, leans on it as though it needed one more fat latch. This cargo here to be delivered to Ulenkrug. A man by the name of Einar of Ulenkrug is waiting for it. I do not believe the task will be easy, as the cargo is rather precious and certain people who'd go to great lengths to acquire it, which is why I'm turning to you, a man of your experience. Are you interested in doing this for me? Depends on the pay. Yes, good. I was thinking about payment for your task earlier. You'll get 720 crowns when the contract is done. I accept your offer. It's more money than our men have seen in quite some time. Glancing over the marketplace, perhaps there is equipment to help us. Setting off with a few extra ground grains, we disembark and heading for Ulenkrug. Instead of taking the path to be predicted, we're going to take a westward approach, hoping to avoid whatever it is that was following us. As the company takes a break, you decide to address the men. Brothers, I want everyone to know Battle Brothers are not just cutthroats and errand boys, but skilled fighters of the first order. Words of our deeds must be spread, so that merchants and noblemen are begging us to take their contracts. What do you tell the men that will set out to do next? We need a battle standard, so that we're recognized from afar. Having one be made is costly, so we shall gather 2,000 crowns for this task. And that is what the company has decided. We're already 1,600 crowns towards our goal, and if we finish this armed courier task, we will have met our ambitions. Careful eyes on the road, as we know we're holding something valuable enough to employ us 720 crowns to transport. Doubling back through the zombie forest of the Black Forest, where we saw those Widergangers before, might be wise. We know these woods well. So far, the shortcut has paid off. One swamp and a few hills, and we'll be there. Vander's Watch, a once proud fortress spotted in the forest side. Ulenkrug, goods are delivered, and Einar of Ulenkrug is waiting for us as we enter the town. He takes the cargo hurriedly off our hands. Oh, I did not think you would get here. His grubby fingers dance along the crest carrying the cargo. He turns around and barks an order to one of his men. They step forward and hand you a satchel of crowns. Another apprentice, perhaps, would be wise for us to hire, still leaving us with the 2,000 crowns required for the banner. Yet another ambition fulfilled. No one likes a skinflint, least of all a group of wandering bloodthirsty rabbles motivated primarily by love of coin. Not everyone, or more precisely, no one, was thrilled when you suggested cutting back on spending to save up for a company standard. Once the Battle Brothers standard is finally paid for and hoisted for the first time, proudly snap into fresh dawn breeze, however, no one claims it wasn't worth it. The men are proud of their new standard, even tossing around names for it around the campfire, though none of them really stick. It's clear for everyone to see now that this is not some band of hired thugs. This is becoming a true mercenary company. Who should have the honor of carrying the standard? Thank you for watching Battle Brothers, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 28th. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Radamat.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Radamat.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow sellswords.